Welcome back to another video. Haven't been on YouTube in a while, but I'm back and we're going to be doing an election prediction. Kamala Harris versus Ron DeSaints. But yeah, so let's get it right into it. Kamala Harris obviously going to win Oregon, California. But yeah, first of all, Ron DeSaints, was polling ahead of Kamala Harris in a scenario for 2024, but we'll see what happens. We'll see if Donald Trump gets the primary win or Ron DeSantis. We'll see if Ron DeSantis even runs. If Donald Trump runs, there's a lot of people that might not run because Donald Trump will probably have a pretty good chance of winning. But anyways, let's go ahead and move on in these states. But I do want to say that Ron DeSantis is closing in on Donald Trump's polling right now. It's very close right now in the polling. It is getting very close now. So anyways, Ron DeSantis would win these states of against Kamala Harris. Ron DeSantis would win Wyoming states, Indiana, Kentucky, Tennessee. He would run the table in these bright red states that he would do very good in. And I'm already going to mark Texas because this is his home state. He'll win it by a likely margin, almost 4 points probably in the state of Florida. About a little over 4 points maybe, but so let's move on to some other states. Let's go into the safe blue states. In the east, let's Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, DC, Vermont. We're not going to touch New Hampshire right now, but we'll get to that one as soon as I can. Once we fill in these other states, safe red states, like North Dakota, Idaho, Utah. Just filling in these safe red states that would go to DeSantis. DeSantis would win Missouri probably by a likely margin. Wouldn't be no surprise there. We're going to leave Ohio out of it for now. Let's go to some other states like New Mexico's probably going to be likely. Actually, I'm going to put it in the likely column. Yes, I'm not going to put it at lean column. I'm going to put New Mexico in the lean column for Kamala Harris. Let's just look at the results last time in New Mexico. You see Joe Biden got 54.3%, Trump got 43.5%. This state will be a little bit closer, than 2020. If Ron DeSantis can get to 45%, maybe a little over that, that would be good news for him. Maybe he can do better in the Albuquerque area. That would vote well very much for him in some of those rural areas. Can Ron DeSantis increase that number that Donald Trump got in some of these rural areas in the state? So anyways, let's move on to some of these other states. We are going to mark Virginia as the likely column for Kamala Harris. I don't think really anything would change in the state of Virginia. It just would be a tad bit closer. It depends how Ron DeSantis can perform in Virginia Beach and this area near the coast. Ron DeSantis is going to have to perform a little bit better there and in these rural areas to absolutely, if he wants to even get close to winning the state. So Virginia likely for Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris would also run the board in some Hawaii, not Texas. Oh no, that's not good. I don't think Kamala Harris is going to win Texas by a safe margin. Maybe someday the Democrats will, but definitely not in 2024. New York, safe margin. It's still in these Illinois. Okay, well, and Ron DeSantis would also win Alabama. Kansas. Kansas, I'm going to leave in actually... I'm going to leave Kansas in the safe column. Because, you know, I don't think it would be that Kamala Harris would perform as well as Joe Biden did. Let's go and check the state of Kansas. Kansas was closer, I would admit. Kansas was a little bit closer than 2016. But I just don't think that Kamala Harris would be a good candidate for Kansas, and obviously that would probably be true as a factor. And let's just mark Kansas in the safe column for Kamala Harris. Let's go and look at these other states like Colorado. Colorado would probably be a lean or a... This one's kind of hard to predict in Colorado. It is a lean or a lean to safe state for the Democrats to likely, but in the past years it has gone Republican. But I think this time around, I keep on marking Texas blue, that's not okay. But let's go and look at the state of... Let's go and look at the state right here of Colorado. So Colorado, let's just look at the results here. So, you know, Joe Biden won it by a very convincing margin, obviously, but not as convincing as some other safe blue states, obviously. So I think that the state might be able to go to the likely column for Kamala Harris. So, or actually, lean column. Let's go ahead and put it in the lean column for now. I think Ron DeSantis can win some of those suburban voters, the blue-collar voters, the people that work hard in the state, that have jobs, very... anyways, let's move on to the state of... Actually, let's move on to the state of North Carolina. North Carolina, this is... We're getting to the swing states. Mostly the ones that haven't been marked yet are the states that are a little bit closer than these other states that I haven't predicted, except for Nebraska's, the whole state of Nebraska, except for Nebraska's second. Actually, let's do Nebraska's second. Nebraska's second district, Nebraska, obviously a heavy place where Republicans can win. 39%, 58% last time around. But Omaha is a pretty big Democratic area where the Democrats run up the votes. Douglas and Sapri are the two counties that make up the congressional district. You see Biden won one electoral vote, and this is where the congressional district is Omaha and the Sapri. But yeah, so that's what Kamala Harris has a chance of winning. But this is my opinion. I think Ron DeSantis can pull it out in the second district. Flip that one. That is the first flip of this prediction. But we're going to move on to some other states. So the next state that we're going to be looking at is Minnesota. So Minnesota, more difficult state as well. It did go to Joe Biden, more significant, more votes than 2016. Joe Biden really ran it up in the Minneapolis area and St. Paul, that area. Everything that went on there, the racial protest and all that, really helped Joe Biden win the state of Minnesota. But so I'm going to give Harris the state of Minnesota by a lean margin in the state of Minnesota. So let's move on to some other states. Let's move on to Washington, because this one's not going to be as close as the others. Washington, this is a state that will go lean to Kamala Harris, a little bit closer than last time probably. And right now, let's move on to Montana. Montana, it would go to Ron DeSantis by a lean margin, or sorry, likely margin. Ron DeSantis will win the state of Montana by a likely margin. in this prediction. And Alaska, Ron DeSantis is going to win the state of Alaska by a likely margin as well. Also, Ron DeSantis can obviously win the state of Iowa by a lead margin, or likely margin. Actually, let's put in a likely margin. Iowa is probably more closer than Montana. People can argue with that, but in my personal opinion it is, and you just look at the statistics of the state of Iowa, and it's pretty more closer than the other states. But anyways, let's move on to some other states like Arizona, Texas, the Sun Belt states, the very close states. Texas, this time around, it's not going to go to the Democrats. I think Ron DeSantis is probably going to win it by a likely margin. Let's just take a look at the state of Texas. Texas, you know, it's getting more blue, 52.1% to 46.5%. Joe Biden basically running almost about 47% in the state. The problem is that all this sea of red really makes up what the state votes for. Houston is going to need a big boost for votes for the Democrats. Democrats have to win the state of, or the county of Harris, which is where Houston is. And Democrats are going to have to win it by like 60 to 63% here if they really want to win the state, have a chance of winning the state. So yeah, Texas needs more time for the Democrats, but again, if you can perform better in the Dallas suburbs and Fort Worth, then you might just win the state and then get your votes in Houston, what you need in Houston. But I think probably more than likely Texas will go to Ron DeSantis, especially in I'm not going to say it's a red wave in 2024, but probably. We'll see how things change. We'll see if Kamala Harris' approval rating tends to drop even more. Kamala Harris has a terrible rating right now among the American people, but there's always errors in the polls. We'll see how that fluctuates in going up to 2024. But let's move on to some of these other states. Like let's move on. We're gonna do the Rust Belt last. The state of North Carolina, I think Ron DeSantis can win that by a likely margin, or a lean margin. Ron DeSantis is going to win the state of North Carolina by a lean margin. Let's just take a look at it real quick. We're not going to spend much time in North Carolina, though. Union. Where is Union? Union's right here. This is one of the biggest Republican vote areas. Ron DeSantis can run it up there and run it up in some of these rural areas, in these suburbs. I think Ron DeSantis can do better in the suburbs. Those independent voters in North Carolina just might vote for Ron DeSantis. It's going to go to Ron DeSantis by a lean margin. Next, we're going to go to the state of Nevada. Now, Nevada is one of those states that is trending Republican right now, just barely, but it is. Latinos are helping Republicans, actually, matter of fact, Latinos are helping the Republicans increase their vote, especially when Donald Trump was around. Now, is this only Donald Trump that did the work for the Latinos in the state of Nevada, where Donald Trump had pretty impressive numbers here in Nevada, almost winning the state? He got very close in the state of Nevada. Where can Ron DeSantis improve? He can improve in Clark County by a point, maybe, or a little bit less than that. He can improve in Reno, obviously, but this is where the most votes are, Clark County. Ron DeSantis needs to rack up some more votes there than Donald Trump did. I think he can do it. I think Ron DeSantis can perform very well with the Latinos in Clark and Reno. You know, Florida is a pretty big population of Cuban and Latino, and Nevada is as well, and I think Ron DeSantis the governor of Florida, can win the state of Nevada. Very similar, like Florida, in some of those counties. I do want to point out something in Nevada. Miami-Dade, let's just go. Miami-Dade, 46.1% for Donald Trump, 53.4%. That's a 22-point swing from last time. Last time Hillary Clinton won it by 22 points. Now, look how close it is, 46.1, 53.4. So, I think a similar problem could be in Clark County, but not as by much as, not a 22-point swing, obviously. But I think it's going to be really close in Nevada. But I think Ron DeSantis can win the state of Nevada by a tilt margin. Yes, Ron DeSantis can win the state of Nevada by a tilt margin in 2024 in my prediction here. Also, I'm going to do more predictions, but yeah, it might be a little bit different. But anyways, let's move on to Arizona and Georgia. I think Ron DeSantis can probably win the state of Arizona by a tilt margin, winning back getting Maricopa more closer, the county of Maricopa, which he will ultimately pull out a victory in the state of Arizona. Georgia, I think Ron DeSantis can win here by also a tilt margin. He's going to win back the state of Georgia. This is another flip. 2 flips already, or 3 flips. Georgia and Arizona going, and Nevada going back to the Republican column in this prediction. So you can already see where this is going. Ron DeSantis has already succeeded Donald Trump's electoral vote number in this prediction. Ohio is going to go lean margin for Ron DeSantis. Actually, sorry, it's going to go likely for Ron DeSantis in the state of Ohio. Donald Trump did not as well as he did in 2016, but Ron DeSantis can way improve here. He can improve in these suburban areas near the Cleveland, like Lake County and Ottawa, and these states around here up near Cleveland, and Toledo, near there. Columbus, not really going to do much change probably there. But, so, that means we have 5 more states left. I think Kamala Harris can win the state of Maine by a lean margin. The 2nd district, though, will go to Ron DeSantis by a likely margin. By a likely margin in the state of Maine. Ron DeSantis will do very well with Latinos in Maine's 2nd district there. Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, New Hampshire. Let's go and do New Hampshire. I think it's going to be way closer than 20, where Donald Trump lost here by a pretty good margin, but I think it's going to go tilt Kamala Harris at the end of the day. DeSantis, here's the main states that DeSantis needs to win in order to win the presidency. Ron DeSantis right now has 269, Kamala Harris has 225. Ron DeSantis only needs to win one of these. He can do it in Wisconsin, he can do it in Pennsylvania, he can do it in Michigan. Now, Kamala Harris is going to win the state of Michigan by a tilt margin in this prediction. I don't think, let's just look at this Rust Belt. This was the Rust Belt. Michigan was the Rust Belt states that leaned more to the left than Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. I think Kamala Harris can do pretty well with African American voters in the state, so she's probably going to win it by just barely by a tilt margin to about 10,000 votes or so in the state of Michigan. It's going to be as close as 2016, where Donald Trump just won it just barely in the state of Michigan, just about 10,000 votes. But Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, this is the states that could do it. Wisconsin will go to Ron DeSantis by a lean margin. I think Ron DeSantis can do very good here in Wisconsin. Let's just look at it in 2016, or 2020, sorry, excuse me. Ron DeSantis can win back some of these counties like this middle county here, Portage, and that's that county. Door County, I think Ron DeSantis will win this county back, and I just think he'll do better in the Green Bay area as well. Milwaukee, probably going to be around the same percentage in Milwaukee, but it won't be enough for Kamala Harris with the overwhelming support of Ron DeSantis in the state. Pennsylvania, the final state. Ron DeSantis has 279. He has already won. Ron DeSantis is going to win the state of Pennsylvania by a tilt margin. He wins the state of Pennsylvania by a tilt margin. He's barely going to win here in the state of Pennsylvania. But anyways, that's it for this prediction. Kamala Harris, final electoral vote for her, 240 to Ron DeSantis, 298. Ron DeSantis ultimately winning around the board. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video.